Hello, Mary. Thank you for joining us. Rich, it's a pleasure to see you again. Hello, Les. Thank you for coming in. Tanya, what's up? And Lori, thank you, everybody. We are looking forward to a fun event for today. Got people already raising their hand, just saying hi, I'm sure, right? Larry, it's good to see you, Larry. Bori, Elizabeth, more and more people coming in, so I can't say them all as quickly, but it's good to see everybody. We will get started here in just a quick moment, like usual. Excited to bring and introduce to everybody Corpay One. Rojo, I told you I'm going to remember the name Rojo. I just love it. It's kind of like Spot, like it's easy to remember that way. At least I think. All right. And got everything going here. Last couple moments, so we've got almost everybody in here. And let's get this going live. We're just about to get started here, and let's do this. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another week's episode of Weekly Sessions. This week, I'm happy to introduce Bob. We've got Bob joining us. Bob, come on camera with us.
Hello. Matthew, it's great to be with you.
So thank you, Bob. I appreciate you joining us for this week, talking to us about, well, first, I know you're going to kind of give us a little bit of an enlightenment about your background because of how involved you've been within the accounting industry and as well as your knowledge around accounts payable, everything else. So I look forward to hearing more about that. You ready to get this show started and talking to people?
You bet. I'm ready to go.
Awesome. We get our slide deck here, rocking and rolling. We'll do a quick intro and then we will jump right into, you get to tell everybody about who you are.
Super.
So this week, obviously, everybody knows, this whole month we've actually had Weekly Sessions as being sponsored by Corpay. So Bob, I finally get to thank you personally for helping us do this and bring more of this entertainment to our community and helping educate our community. So from here, that's all I had to do. I'm going to toss it back to you. Bob, I got the chance to meet you yesterday. I got to learn a little bit more about your background. Would you please introduce yourself to our community?
You bet. So Matthew, was great to connect yesterday, and it's our pleasure to sponsor. Thank you for that opportunity. We're a big fan of the QuickBooks community and QuickBooks Community Live, so it's a pleasure to be here with you all today. So thank you for sharing a little time with us, and I look forward to having a great session. Would love questions as well, so please send those over. So my role at FleetCor is leading our accountant channel and partnerships and some other things here. But Matthew, you're right. I've been in the business of accounting for about my whole career. More than 20 years, approaching 30. Yeah, exactly. And
he looks younger than me, which is what drives me nuts. So congratulations, you're navigating these waters well.
Yeah, I guess my kids keep me youthful. So I'm an accountant by education and early career as an auditor at what was then Coopers and Lybrand. It was the Big Six in my day.
Wow.
So dating myself there, and but since I've been in tech, and a lot of that has been in building partner programs, very much focused on accountant channel, and some of it in the mid-market ERP channels. So I'm very familiar with all the big horizontal accounting software products. In fact, I spent some time at Intuit. I was in the QuickBooks Pro Advisor group when Brad Smith started back in the day when he came over from ADP. And my first role was actually bringing QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Enterprise, which were brand new products at the time, into the Pro Advisor program. So that was a lot of fun. They were, interesting products at the beginning, and they've certainly evolved a ton since. Since then, I've also had some stops at Microsoft, helped build Concur into the powerhouse it's become, now part of SAP. And the last 10 years, I've really spent, in the bill pay space, AP automation, and working with accountants and partners. So I've come to know this capability well, both how the accounting software view of the world is, the core GL systems, as well as the apps. And so this is I've done this a few times before, and worked in the accounting space for most of my career. And it's great to be back in the SMB accounting space again, and to be here with you all today.
So I have an interesting question for you, because you've had the opportunity to experience quite a bit of the accounting industry that as we know it today, and the evolution of the accounting industry. In my mind, I really have to, if I think about it, the automation of accounts payable is probably one of the biggest changes or evolutions in our industry, right? I mean, because it's such a time-consuming task generally. Would you agree? I mean, has that been just a powerful change? How do you think that plays out?
Huge. I agree. The transition back from desktop and clients doing their work, and just being really being the only way to get it done efficiently. There wasn't much bookkeeping going on 15 years ago. That wasn't on site, stopping in and visiting and doing the work. It was, there wasn't a lot of remote work. So the core was getting that accounting system in the cloud, or hosted in the network. And then payroll was a big plus, but that still doesn't give you that real time engagement. And so, yeah, I would agree that, the prevalence of automated bill pay AP process has really been the catalyst to driving this huge growth in the CAS space, client accounting services, or whatever you call it, outsourced bookkeeping, controllership, CFO, all of that. And it's a key piece, and it's accelerating. And I think what's exciting now is with the solutions available today, priced the way they are, they really can be applicable to every client, not just those with 50 payments or more a month. And so it's a big deal, and it's an exciting time. And then, coupling with that, advanced capabilities now that are part of this, which we'll talk about in a little bit, things like workflow. And, that's a big word. What it means
I love that word.
Is approval and transaction workflow, to automate transactions in smart ways that save time and improve accuracy. So it's really another exciting development with modern software and technology built into these cloud AP apps.
So I'd like to ask everybody in the audience, both in Zoom and on Facebook, in the comments, please, if you're doing accounts payable for any of your clients for your business, would you please let us know what are you using currently? How are you accomplishing this? Are you doing it manually? Do you use something else? I'd love to see what the kind of feedback is there. And while we're waiting for some responses there to come up, one of the other things I find interesting about accounts payable is, for the longest time, it seems like the small business owner, we all wanted to chase after the things that mid-market could do, right? Like the efficiencies of mid-market. And somehow this cloud accounting switched that on top of its head, and the benefits, the efficiencies of applications, everything else started to really come to small business first through these marketplaces, to where now even mid-market's trying to grab and they want more of this automation stuff. And I think accounts payable is a big part of this. So it really is just centric to everything that we're doing. So I'm hearing people are saying so far that they've got a lot of manual print checks. We've got some other options in there. Make sure most of the stuff, people are still doing a lot of print checks, some like Milio type stuff. But I know today we're going to actually talk about how Corpay fills a very unique position in the market to help all of us. So why don't you take it away as we get more of these answers?
Sounds good. So we'll just start with a bit of an overview of what Corpay One is. And then I'll tell you a little bit more about FleetCor, our parent company, and how we came about to have Corpay One. And then we'll get into a bit about the pricing and how that works. Then we'll go into the demo. So
Cool.
yeah, so the core of the product is really AP automation, and so that's 3 key pieces. Plus we have reimbursements, so expense reports is built in as well. So in the AP process, the first part is capturing the data and the documents. So we have a smart scanning capability that does a great job of bringing that information into the system efficiently, extremely accurately, and you control that, and it's great. And then there's the approval process, which can be very simple, or you can build very sophisticated workflow process in that for those clients that have a really unique situation, or if you like to really automate certain steps in the process, and we'll talk more about that. And then we do have an expense report capability. It's all in the cloud or on the mobile device. So while you're out there on the road, take a picture of your receipt, scans the data, pre-populates your expense report. It's fast, simple, works great. And so that's the overview of what we do. Now, how do we get there? Because it's a new brand, Corpay. Many people haven't heard of it yet. It's really just been around since March. We started with an acquisition. So we acquired a company called Roger AI. Some of us in the US had been familiar with Roger. Roger was started in Europe, and has done a great and is quite strong in a couple of countries over there, but really it just dabbled in the US market. So what was great is there was a pre-existing system with some scale, great team of developers and business leaders, and all that came along with us. And then it allowed us to enter the SMB segment. We're already in this space in the mid-market and upper markets with a solution that we call Invoice Pay. And we do other things. So we're a very large business, actually. We're a $2.6 billion in revenue as our most recent quarter, more than 8,000 employees, and we are one of the S&P 500 stocks. So
I'd be willing to bet out of all the people that are here, again, in the comments, most likely you've seen FleetCor pop up in your different company files. Anybody who's doing any kind of gas card type stuff, FleetCor is a big company that's been around for quite some time. So while Corpay may be a newer venture of theirs, the core basis, FleetCor, has been around a very, very long time, right?
Yeah, more than 20 years, exactly. And Fuelman is one of the brands. There's other brands in our fuel card business, and we have hundreds of thousands of SMBs using those cards. And it's fleets, trucking, plumbers, all kinds of anybody who's got a fleet of vans or trucks oftentimes wants to have a fuel card where you can buy fuel, but you can't go into the store and pick up a 6-pack or smokes or whatever it is you need
cash back
on the company dime. You could still do that on your own, but then our position as B2B payments leader, we have huge businesses in we're the largest issuer of virtual cards. For those who are familiar with what a virtual credit card is, it's essentially creating a card that doesn't actually have a physical card. It's usually for a single payment. Sometimes they could be used for a longer time. So that's a huge business for us. Global foreign currency payments. We're the largest provider of FX payment services in the world as well. And some of those solutions are already built into some of the AP automation solutions you're probably familiar with. So we've been in the market even in SMB, but more as the back end payment infrastructure. And so this gives us an ability to take a complete solution and support the SMB market. So it's very exciting, and we've seen a lot of early success. So that's a bit about who we are, and so why we're seeing some interest, I believe, is and what we've heard from accountants and small business users is that we've got a simple, modern UI. It's easy and approachable, simple to learn, simple to use, and capable. And so, one of the advantages of being built in the last 5 years is that developer technology's really improved in the span of, say, the last 15 years that AP automation solutions have been around. The early providers use different tech, and today we've got some advantages. So the other big thing is that we've priced our solution to support clients of any size and complexity, making it really compelling. It's even cheaper than just doing it manually, ignoring all the hours that go into doing it manually. So literally the hard dollar cost of purchasing checks and mailing them with postage is more expensive than using Corpay.
And how do we do that as accountants if we're supposed to be trying to do that with different clients? How do we keep check stock for all of our clients and all that? Like, we won't even go there. So, but
I know it's a mess. It's a mess, and it's a lot of wasted time.
Yeah.
But hey, we've got to train the newbies, right? No, we can help them get out of that stuff quick because they want to do smart, fun things. So, and then the other thing is the advanced automation. So that's really that's one of the differentiations in our solution, where we really believe, and our users have been telling us that they're able to automate things that they couldn't, and support approval processes they previously couldn't with other solutions that they've used. But it's all got to be integrated, right? And so, with this community, we have integration with QuickBooks. QBO, we're in the process of rolling out our early wave clients and QuickBooks Desktop as well. And we do a lot in the very beginning of the setup process to pull information over from QuickBooks, pre-populate the system, open up, bring in existing bills that have not been paid. So you're just up and running and ready to go, literally in minutes. So you can set this up, and you could be paying bills in less than half an hour. And so it's simple and powerful. You can validate an identity. You can connect to the bank accounts, all that very simply and quickly.
So is your setup is it a one-way sync or a two-way sync?
It depends on the specific type of record.
Okay.
And we're continuing to evaluate and enhance. And so we listen and get feedback all the time from accountants. One of our regular cycles each quarter is to enhance the product. So for example, we're looking at adding additional types of lists and adding other two-way syncs where we've heard some requests. But today, so here we're really seeing payment accounts categories are coming in from QuickBooks. You don't add a category in our solution.
Correct. Yeah.
Yet, but some of those things we may add, with feedback from our users.
Beautiful. Well, that's what our group is good for.
It's working very well. So I think I have high confidence in our integration.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what does it cost is an important thing. It's virtually free.
How do you make money on this? If
I'll get to that. To that. We don't charge any monthly fees. There's no setup fees, no fees for users, no fees for approvers. And so you can have as many approvers as you need with the client, non-profit board members, all kinds of situations that some clients would love to have. Existing solutions in the market either don't have a capable enough approval process, or it's just too costly to add all those approvers. So people don't, and they still have a manual back-end process. So we thought, let's make this solution approachable and affordable. And so we do have some things that cost. If you do an international wire, we have a fee. If you have to do voids, those are a fee.
Okay.
But so how do we make money is a great question. So we make money moving money. And so as I shared, we're a global B2B payments powerhouse, and we make money moving billions and billions of dollars through our systems. So some transactions we don't make money on, like checks, because there is a hard dollar cost, and we don't charge you for it, or the client or the vendor. It's that's a free payment. But many vendors prefer credit cards or accept credit cards happily. They've built that into their price of doing business. And so when those vendors come up, we pay those by card. There's a small amount of interchange fee, and we get our piece of that. And that little piece adds up, and that alone would make us profitable. We're adding, or does make us profitable. The other is we're in the process of rolling out the Corpay card. So you have an integrated card purchasing, and what we're doing now is we're adding more capabilities. So you can control that from within the system, add new employees, change payment limits, those kinds of things. But that's coming soon. All those capabilities, and then pay with card becoming more common as well, where people will have a short-term, cash flow issue. They got to pay. They want to pay with a card, pay maybe an expense to a vendor who doesn't take card, and so that is another way that we make money. We'll add other things. So as I mentioned, as part of this Corpay brand, we have some other businesses that have been in the payment space a long time. We're rebranding a number of companies within the business. So Comdata is one, Cambridge, Global Payments, Invoice Pay. We just acquired a company called Afex a couple months ago, which is the second large foreign currency transaction. And
this is one of the biggest reasons why. I'm sorry. This is one of the biggest reasons why I feel like this company really it's worth putting the bet onto, right? Because the fundamentals there, the foundation is there, the technology is already there in comparison to so many companies that they want to expand into this and they're starting from scratch. Your scenario is quite different. You're saying, hey, we're going to take these different branches and we're going to make sure we pull it together in a way that makes good sense for you, the user, right?
Yes, exactly. So, the typical software company starts, they write their cloud software, and then they have to look for partners to enable all their payment types. They find a vendor that prints checks if they do that. They set up a process to enable ACH. They set up a process to do virtual cards. A lot of times they come to us. There's a few other players in the market too who provide these infrastructure services. And so, we've got that foundation already. And now we have that front end software for a small business or for the accountants. We've had it for other companies, larger companies that have more complicated AP processes and higher volumes, 500 or 5,000 payments a month that they need to manage. And there's a whole nother set of complexities with that we don't want to expose the small business to. They don't. Taking that mid-market product and dumbing it down never really delivers the right solution. So we didn't go that route. We decided to buy and enhance. And so we're investing a ton into this business. We're what I'd say is that it's an established startup company within a very large business that's well-funded, resourced, and prepared for tremendous growth. So
as I know you're getting ready to dive into doing a bit of a demo, because I know I'm going to have tons of questions there as well, but I wanted to draw two questions that came up through chat here.
Sure.
One is was asking how long does the ACH take to get to the vendor?
Uh-huh.
Um, and another was Joanne Beck. Hey, Joanne, good to see you. Was asking or says it looks like Corpay card will be on a MasterCard. Is that will it be MasterCard or is that just visual purposes or?
Yes. So the Corpay card it isn't a MasterCard. Yes, that is our primary card partnership.
Okay.
Yes, and there's uh, points and rebates and things like that built into it's a 1% rebate, and there's a lot more details on the card,
Okay.
uh, and that may be of interest to clients. And then ACH, that it is currently it's a 3 to 5 days from when you initiate a payment through ACH, but as we add more of this infrastructure into Corpay, we'll see some changes get to things like same day ACH, international ACH. So
That'll be
for
interesting.
those that have global payments, so we're working on really bringing in some next generation technology that's going to be even better than the current kind of old school ACH and check process, which is what we currently have. So
We'll make you promise to come back as the corporate card and that stuff comes out. You just have to promise you'll come
yes,
back and we'll keep
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. The corporate card now, I think coming soon is it's actually available now
Oh,
today,
good. Okay.
but it's sort of like in the early wave. So it's yeah, it's exposed to every customer who'd like one, but we're kind of slow rolling the promotion of it as we scale it up. So we
Beautiful.
want to make sure we have time to do all the credit background stuff and all that. So let's take a look at the product, and that always, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, is a demo worth 10,000? I'm
A
not sure.
million as long as you pray to the demo gods. Otherwise, it does not actually. It goes
Right,
silent.
that's it. Let's hope.
I,
Let's hope
I
the
I
gods
always do
listen
every time
today.
before. We're good.
All right, let's see here.
So
And we
everybody,
go.
as you have questions, we're definitely keeping an eye on that stuff. I always, when it comes to demos, have tons of questions, and I'll try not to bombard it down or slow us down from that. But please feel free to ask your questions, and I will do my best to get those across and get you answers at the same time.
Great. So this, I've taken my browser out of the window here to give you a maximum view over the webinar. And so this is your homepage in Corpay. And
Okay.
so the central
Oh, you
part
know
of
what?
it
I
is
think you need to redo your screen share real quick. It had stopped for a quick moment there, so we'll go back to that.
sharp as a marble today. There we go. Here we go. Thank you for
Beautiful.
pointing that out. I would have been off on my own. So here is the Corpay One home screen. Really, it's your bill pay inbox. That's the home. And there's some other navigation I'll just familiarize you with here. So on the left side, you can have your navigation expanded, or you can keep it contracted to make space. Under bill pay, you keep track of vendors and payment sources. Your settings
Okay.
are here, all kinds of details in here, things you can manage. And then advanced capabilities. So that includes workflow, document matching to do like statement reconciliations if you want to do those. Reimbursements is expense reporting, credit notes, so that's credit memos. Yeah, and then at the bottom, this is where you can access help, learn about the latest features, or switch your account to other clients, or open your dashboard, or
So
this
that's an
here.
important part to stop you real quick. So what I'm hearing
Yeah.
from that is we're talking about an accountant's dashboard. We have multiple clients. We can switch between different clients to handle the bill pay very efficiently. Is that what I saw there? Is that correct?
Yes, yes, and I'll show that in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, right now we will just go back to our demo here, and we'll look at the main functionality to start. So In your inbox, this is where you're going to see invoices that have been scanned previously. You could drop in a new bill. There's a number of ways. One is, you have a personalized email for vendors, clients to submit invoices. And those will automatically show up. You can just select from your computer, drag and drop invoices in. You can enter them manually. So let's, occasionally you're going to set up something that maybe there isn't a bill for. You can make it recurring if you need to. And
that's exciting.
The timing. So there's some good detail in there. And so that when you get here and you get your invoices in, you'll see that the information has been scanned from the invoice. It'll pick up all the details. And that's a highly accurate OCR process. It is the error rate is something like 0.03%, like it's 99.97% accurate, something like that. It's more accurate than human keying, and we do that through advanced OCR capabilities plus a secondary human review step. So it takes advantages of all that technology and one extra step to eyeball it quickly, so that in a minute or two.
I want to pause you there real quick again, if you don't mind, on the OCR part, because just as accountants, we're very particular about where data is. And what I did here is, so you've the OCR, advanced OCR, you've got your own system for that. But then for confirmed accuracy, there's also another review process that is a human review process over the documents itself. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How long does it usually take? Like when you upload something, how long until you're ready to work with it inside of the platform, would you say?
It's a minute or two, usually.
That's super fast.
So it is very fast. It is slow enough to where if you've got a stack of invoices and you want to start working on them, you should scan them, drop them, get a cup of coffee or something, and then come back and they're all ready to go. But yeah, sitting there and scanning and waiting, that's probably not the best process. But usually what happens is you've provided that email address, and so you open it up and they're already there. You're not scanned, or you've sent them you're forwarding from another inbox where you're having clients send you everything. So usually that's so it's done before and it's all there. So
the time part isn't usually that much of an issue because of exactly what you're saying. But I would like to ask everybody in the comments, when you're using these kind of services, how do you normally get the docs? Do you set up the email forwarding? Do you upload your own, or do you manually put stuff in? And if you can just add those in the comments, we'll come back to them in a little bit, but good feedback to kind of find out what everybody's doing with it. So sorry to interrupt you there. Just want to get that extra feedback.
That's great. Yeah. We'll let those questions come in. I'll just walk through this really quickly. So you capture the main data, then you code it. And so if you've previously chosen a category for a vendor, or that vendor has had an invoice previously, it will remember and will reapply your invoice to the previously created coding. So whether that's the category, the sales, the department that it might be associated with, if you're using departments or classes or whatever specific list types you're using. And so that's great.
Can you do customers or jobs?
I don't have that yet. That's on my list for this next development cycle, though. So
working on it. Thank you.
That's a good question, and I really want that, customers and jobs underneath customers. Beautiful. So timeline is a view of all the steps, when they started, when it completed, the payment details, how the payment will be made in this case, or in the case of paid invoices, where was it paid, what was the timing of the payment, when was it initiated, processed, when was it delivered, all that details in there. If you have any chat internally to get insight from someone else who knew more about the about the purchase,
Okay.
and you need that info. It's all in there. So another thing, within this screen, this area, you can always select particular invoices, or you can do a selection to get certain types of invoices. When you select them, it sums them for you. You can download attachments. You can export to a CSV file very simply with all the data. So whatever you've tracked will come out in a spreadsheet. This could be useful for end of year when you're coming up with 1099 payment amounts or something like that. Or, a vendor wants to see, though in the vendor section, you can see a bit more detail as well. So, with that particular invoice we were looking at for Zoom, there was, their option, their preference is direct pay. We would see the documents. There's only the one at this point that I uploaded for Zoom, but you'd see all the history of all the invoices for that particular one, any specific settings. So their default category that was found was office supplies and software. So when I created that, it picked that up, a log of any changes, people who looking at it, creating it, all of that.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see I'm not the only one spending that kind of money with Zoom too. So thank you very much.
Yes. So direct pay, ACH, check, or if there's no preference. Okay. And then with each, then there's the details, the payment details. So if they wish to have ACH, the ACH info is here, check, the address that it would go to here as well. This one's direct pay, they accept card at Zoom. Okay. So then advanced, this is a really interesting section. So unless there's some questions that make sense to stop and look. We do have
one question here that this is a pretty common one that happens within this area. So Laura's been asking some great questions. This one is, if I have multiple bills for a vendor, does it send one payment from multiple ones? So if you've got four bills for Zoom, is Zoom going to get 4 separate checks, or will it combine them into one check?
So the default process is that we would pay each one independently, but you can group payments for a particular vendor if you would like to do that in one payment. Some of the reason that I've heard people say this in the past is they had a fee for each check and they were trying to reduce cost by grouping payments. That's not an issue here because it's all a free part of the service. So it kind of is up to your preference or the vendor preference. Would they rather have one payment, or would they rather see a payment for each invoice? Or how do you prefer to do it? Essentially. So,
I mean, if there's no extra fee, it's almost better for the matching side having a separate check for each one, so long as there's no extra fee to it, right? Because then it starts doing the auto matching stuff, which would be awesome. Thank you.
That's my view, but as well, but the batch payment possibility here for vendors is here. So you could easily do that if that's how you'd like to pay. And then yes, items is a good question. Items is also one. So there was an integration question from Laura on items. That's one I'm looking at adding as well. So
items is tricky when you're dealing with trying to get items set up and having line item recognition. That's a lot of work, guys, when you're talking about a system like this, especially with OCR involved. It's a lot of work.
Which is why, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not 100% convinced on doing that the right way. Non-inventory items versus, inventory items is also another thing. So it's not a procurement system. We're not a procurement system. We don't claim to be a procurement system. So, but I've spent a little time here showing this workflow screen. We'll get into that. We'll still have more time for questions. So I guess we gotta move quickly to finish up here at 3:15, 4:15, 5:15, 6:15, depends where you are.
We'll be good with time. We can go a little longer to take care of questions, of course. And I love workflows, so I'll be quiet, but you tell us all about the workflows. I love them.
Cool. So, the very simplest here, we've got a very simple workflow. We'll just show you how to create one in a bit. The simplest way is just create a simple approval workflow. It's simple. What's it called? What's it driven based on? Who does the approving, and that's it. Like it's John Dutton. John Dutton approves everything. That's it. Simple, everything goes to John. Now that's one way to go. This has just slightly more complicated, simple workflow. So if the bill amount is greater than $100, then this one requires an approval from, Lindsay Vaughn. You could make that just this simple approval process can be could be all, could be at least two of the managers on the team for something over a certain amount. And then you could do an order. So you could do, first of all, is any of these three people approves it, then it goes to
The next.
the accountant, or vice versa. So I hear sometimes we like to approve everything internally and then send it to the client, or we want the client to approve it and then we do the work on it. So you could set that up either way. It's really flexible.
This is really neat. I mean, this is an area for us. We have a couple nonprofits where we have to have dual approval. And some of them are, if it's over X amount, we have to have a specialized approval. So this would handle all of that. We'd be able to design that.
Yeah, super well. And once you play around within it for a few minutes, you really can see some of that power. So here's the new vendor one. I like this one because anytime there's a new vendor bill or a receipt comes in and the category, so this is how you know, if the category is empty, we know it's new or it needs to be addressed. Do this, add category and request W-9, make a note. Do not pay until W-9 received. And then, so that's just something to help you and your team do things right and have a clean accounting. So this one we found is, a nice concept, and people enjoy that one. Then, very simple, auto approve unpaid recurring bills. So, or paid subscriptions. So you get those subscriptions, they come in, you've got to categorize them. As long as it's come in, and in this case, you can see a summary of what the workflow is. You don't have to go in and look. You can see if the vendor is 24-hour fitness or it's QuickBooks Online and the price change is less than 10%, automatically approve it and mark it as paid.
Okay. So this would be, instead of having like auto ACH set up with your bank, you would be able to set it up where the bills are coming in through here and still do like an auto payment process, but have more control over it and be able to actually tell, like set up the rules to where if there's a major change, you're notified instead of it just getting paid out of the bank.
So that's how the unpaid recurring bills would work. The paid subscriptions, this one assumes it's actually already paid, but you just need to capture the accounting transaction.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Nice.
So then if it's different, you might still want someone to look at it. So you still might want someone to approve it, even though you're not approving the payment, the payments happen, you're approving the accounting in this case. Whereas with this one, the unpaid recurring bills, this is be one where, it isn't paid automatically. Someone triggers it, it's Rent or Xfinity or something. If that price changes less than 2, 5, 10, 20, whatever the right threshold is, then just automatically move it through the process and, it'll trigger and pay and as needed. So that is also really a good time saver and a great way to create efficiency. So now just to look at some of the power here. So this is the engine, and it's an if-then Boolean logic system. So when this happens, do this. And the triggers go up in this when this happens, and the do this is in the actions. And the actions can be also very different. So, if the document comes in, and a lot of times it's based on amount, payment amount, bill amount, the vendor name, you want to create a separate process for certain kinds of vendors. If the currency came in and it's not in US dollars, you might want to do something different. So that's one way. Or it's a keyword, like let's say it's a project-based business and you want to scan for keywords like job 237 or whatever it might be. So it will find those and loop them into a process. So
That's
then,
impressive.
and then,
I mean,
or if it's
yeah.
from a certain category or a department or a bank account, if there was a price change, which that's where the price change, you saw that other came from,
Okay.
or came from uploaded, or here we talked about classes before. And then you want to bring classes in, it'll do something different for a particular class. If class equals this, go a different way. So let's say you use classes for different franchise locations as an option, or another type of characterization there. You can set up those. And then, or add a new category or add a new department or require attention from someone. Mark as paid. So there's a bunch of steps. Disable a sync. You don't want to send that document into QuickBooks. So the default is that any invoice that comes into Corpay One will be pushed into QuickBooks Online automatically. Okay. So the invoice, the receipts, all that goes in. And so, the advantage is you don't have to put the document in two places. So some people use a third-party software to do that. Others might upload it again. Others will just rely on the fact there's a link to the document. You've got to go to the other system to see it. We don't hold your documents hostage. We like to put them back to the accounting system of record, which is where the system of record should be. So then custom lists. So anything that you've got as a custom list that you pull over from QuickBooks would go here. So as we add things like customers and jobs, that's where you'd see it. And so then as we're running low on time, I'll just
we should be okay on time. We always try to be respectful to where if we're getting engagement and questions, as long as you're okay. One that just came up right now, actually, we already know that. So Laura, you can actually choose between either paying, this is coming from Facebook, either paying one invoice at a time or batching them together. But she had another question, which is, does the invoice number print on the stub? So the bill would be our bill number. Does that also show up on the stub, like a record of what was paid?
I believe the answer is yes, and I do have an example document, but I don't want to unequivocally state yes without being 100% sure.
We'll follow up, and I'll put a comment on it afterwards for you, Laura, and make sure that we get you a solution to that. So, but good question, great question.
Happy to answer that. Also, in the system, you can switch to demo mode. So if you want to show a client how it works, you're going to show someone else, you can switch to demo mode. There's dummy documents and data, and you can do everything. You can initiate payments, and it's all there. So it's really helpful. A simple navigation is when you select, you can just switch to a company. You can search, because you might have too many to show up in one list. Or you can move to the dashboard itself. And so opening the dashboard, we have a list of clients. And in our list of clients, we can see where they are in the setup process, how many steps are left. Also, we see how many invoices there are in the inbox to go take a look at. So it'll help us see, we need to go talk to, and we got to go look in on Karen's corner. She doesn't do much with invoices, but or maybe she does a ton, and wow, she's really got that. So also things you can control at the top level. So we were looking in a client account. You can also create workflow as a template at the dashboard level, and then you can add it to any client you like.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Or to an access group. Let's say you create groups of clients, my new clients, my nonprofit clients, tech client, whatever that might be. And then you can apply a particular workflow optimized for, contractors to your contractor client accounts.
This is really, really powerful, that capability. So I love this nonprofit option, right? The fact you have multiple approvers, you could set the workflow, you've got the different types of clients if you're generalist categorized. Instead of having to recreate it, you can recreate it specific to different groups. I mean,
efficiency is the name of the game.
dang.
And right, so our businesses, especially as we move to more fixed pricing or, batch pricing, bundle pricing, you can really do a lot more and be more efficient. So you create your staff here, add staff. You can import if you're moving from somewhere else or you want to just do a sheet, but you can select, is this an administrator? Do you want them to access only the clients they're assigned to, or something else? And
Does
then
it cost more to have more staff, or does it cost more to have more employee staff, any of that stuff?
no, there's no fee for users. Remember? No
That's
fee. It's yeah.
okay.
Well,
So that also means, this was a question we got in here, was do you also hold the copies of invoices? So for a client that has, if they have audited financials, and then it basically, let me re-say that. Are you holding copies of all the different invoices if they needed to go through an audit? And then if they were going through said audit, is there a way to do like an auditor's role, so they can come in and pull any invoices they need for that specific company in a sense?
so yes, the answer is yes. We keep all the invoices, a minimum of 7 years. So we're going to have the right time amount, and then yes, you could set up you could give access to the auditors, or you could easily select the invoices and transactions they need and export the actual document in the invoice section. So you could search for a particular invoice number or a particular vendor, pull all their invoices and just export all. So it's quick and easy to do that. And
So
some of my details, and then we'll stick with questions.
I was going to say real quickly to everybody, obviously the goal here is to kind of give you an overview and introduction to this program. I already have a lot more questions to ask, but the best thing to do, of course, is to reach out, connect over to Bob. You guys can set up a specific demo, but also now that I know that I can go into a demo mode, be expecting to see a couple videos coming from you guys in our group that'll be kind of talking about ways that you can, like an overview of how to use Corpay as well. So best way to connect with you, right, is going to be what we're seeing here.
It's a great way to connect with me. And then my team is here. So we have an accountant team, account managers who will help you learn about, train, ask questions, onboard clients. We have a support team. That support team, we have dedicated accountant support folks. Mm-hmm. And they're available. We can encourage them to reach out and call you as well. Perfect. Or a Zoom if that's what's going to be the right way to fix something. Initiating support with us, we do have chat as the first step, but that's not the only approach that we have. So we are here to help, and we do want to help and engage with you. And we recognize the accountant channel as we're each essentially like our own little enterprise in value, right? We've got more than one client. We're doing a lot of business collectively. And so we don't treat each accountant as an individual small business customer. We treat you as a hub of a lot of businesses that you support, and because you've earned it. Yeah.
I know that, please tell everybody about this. This is more important.
So we do have a promotion running. So in addition to it not costing anything, you can actually earn a $100 Amazon gift card for you, or you could pass it on to a client, or get a few going and have a welcome back to the office party if that's something you want to do. And so getting a client set up, and then after you initiate their first bill, you can get an Amazon gift card to go and buy some cool stuff.
I've got a couple clients I'll get set up right away so I can get some more video gear. Yes.
There we go.
Now I know
All
you're
right.
going to be doing another. You're doing another webinar kind of demo with a good friend Richard Ropa and Kelly, I believe, coming up next week. So just wanted to kind of do a quick plug about that as well for people that want to learn a little bit more as well. Be sure to check that out. It's going to be a great time, I'm sure. And again, it seems like a great product. I look forward to making some videos on it for sure.
Thank you, Matthew. Yes, and hey, I'd love to hear from you all. And again, here are the details. If you want to reach out to me personally, happy to talk to you, and happy to introduce my team and help you connect with and learn about Corpay and see how it can help you in your practice.
Perfect. I'm going to real quickly steal your share as we talk about. I'm going to share what we've got coming up on the next couple weeks here, just real quick. Next week, we're going to have Joe Woodard is going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about the Unstoppable Advisor and what it really takes to be into that role. I'm looking forward to this event as well. And then we've got a good friend, actually, that Paul, who's going to be joining us on the 9th, as well as basically talking about earning your tribe. Paul's a gentleman I've been, I guess you could say, mentoring or collaborating with on growing accounting knowledge. So it's going to be a fun conversation of how QB Community Live, the group, has actually helped him succeed with his business. And then the last thing I just wanted to make sure everybody knew is if you're not on Clubhouse, or I should say if you are on Clubhouse, search me out under Spoticus. We're about to get started with some live rooms with a friend, Kate Keese. She is a phenomenal woman who has bootstrapped her business just amazingly. I'll let her tell her story, but we're going to start doing some live rooms in Clubhouse, and we'd love to have you join and collaborate and contribute. And then the last question that we've got coming from Facebook real quick, my dear friend Jan is asking, this is primarily US based at this moment. Is this correct? Or does it work for Canada?
No, we are not in Canada yet. You can make payments to Canada, but through a wire transfer. Yeah. So, but more capabilities coming soon. A good portion of our business, in other parts of our business are in Canada. Our next priority is advancing in the UK, but that may be coming soon. We'll see.
Bob, any last comments that you'd like to make for the week?
Well, just thank you all. Thank you for hosting a great community. Appreciate all the questions. What a lively bunch.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully we'll get to see you all. I will, saw you brought up Joe Woodard. We'll be at Scaling New Heights.
Perfect.
So if you happen to attend, I would love to see you there, have a chat, and
I will, and I'll be interviewing you then, because I always go around and make sure we connect to people, do a live stream. We like to make sure people can experience these conferences even if they can't be there. So reserve some time for me so we can do that while I'm there.
I will. All right, Matthew, thanks so much.
Everybody, thank you so much for your time. And as always, here's wishing you all a very successful week. Bye, guys.